Yeah, so with the new tax code, the big thing that's changed is the standard deduction has gone up. So now an individual can deduct up to $12,000 on their standard deduction, and a couple can do $24,000. It used to be a lot lower. So with that standard deduction, that means you have to have more itemized deductions to be able to start claiming those on your taxes, and most of us don't have enough. So a lot of people are going to start just claiming the standard deduction, taking their $12,000 or $24,000, which when it comes to charitable giving may impact the ability to deduct those donations from your taxes. I'm in the belief that most people are donating out of the kindness of their heart, so I don't think it will impact the actual giving to the charities, but I think the strategies and how it happens may change going forward from a planning standpoint.
When you sit down
Right.
and do your taxes.
If you're taking that standard deduction, then that charitable contribution you make will no longer show a line item for that deduction on your taxes. But you could still be in a better position because now you have a higher deduction that you're using when you take the standard. So before, if you're a married couple and all of your itemized deductions, you were only taking $10,000 in a deduction, well now you're getting up to 24. Even though you don't get to deduct that charitable contribution, you're still better off from a tax standpoint. You just don't get to mentally see, I got to deduct something because of my charitable contribution. But was the reason for the contribution that you originally made for the tax write-off? Or was it because you wanted to give to a cause that you believed in and the tax write-off was just a little bit of icing on the cake? And that's what I think it really is. But the good thing is there are still some strategies that you can use to take advantage of donating and still see some benefit. So there is a growing use of a thing called a donor advised fund, and not to get too detailed, but it's a way that you can donate into kind of an investment vehicle for charity. You actually get to take that deduction and then you can disperse it later on. So that's one way. You can do another technique called bunching or pooling. There's different terms out there, but basically that means you can combine 2 years worth of contributions or 3 years worth of contributions to get above that standard deduction if you're close enough. So then you would get that tax savings, which may be beneficial if you work with a CPA or a planner, but that may impact the charities and kind of their planning purposes. So that's something that we have to be careful of, but again, I think most people will continue to do it. And then the final tax planning thing relating to charitable contributions, if you're over 70 and a half, you have what's called a required minimum distribution. And this doesn't apply to the standard deduction, but what you can do is you can do a charitable contribution from your IRA directly from the IRA to the charity, and you don't have to take that income. It meets your required distribution. You've given to the charity, you've met that requirement, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. So there's still some things to benefit from the tax side when it comes to tax planning and charitable contributions, but it may just change the way things go.
Is this not a tax season?
I think it's something that a lot of people aren't aware of until they do their taxes. I don't think they'll realize it. I live in this world, so I see it a lot. I have a few clients that are aware of it, but most of them, they probably don't know that the standard deduction even went up. So it's probably something that come April, when people start getting their returns back, they're going to notice this and kind of be surprised.
About the year.
Right. I think there's still a huge benefit from a moral compass of giving and to something you believe in. From a tax standpoint, there will be some people that hit that threshold that maybe they miss out on a little bit of a tax deduction. But I think a lot of the people are going to still fall well below that standard deduction. They're still going to be in a better deduction situation than they would have been deducting their charitable contribution in the past because of that big gap between where it used to be and where it is today. So you lose the ability to see the deduction, but there still are a lot of tax benefits that we're receiving because the standard deduction has gone up, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't expect that charities are really going to change much in the way of...
I think where charities will have to change maybe in their planning as far as cash flow, meaning that there may be more bunching that goes on. So from year to year, they may have a little bit less from one person, but then they get double the amount the next year. So there may be a little bit of planning when it comes to budgeting, but I think that I really do think most people will continue to give as they always have.
Okay.